Welcome back to Sci-Fi Book Trek. Today we'll be doing spoiler talk of a Star Trek novel, Greater Than the Sum. And now, a summary.
We start with the USS Rhea investigating a cluster when it's attacked by the Borg ship Einstein. We're introduced to the character of Chen, who is hashtag not like other Vulcans, who goes down to the planet on a away mission, is accosted by Borg, and is assimilated. However, before that can take root, she's kicked 10,000 light years away into a forest completely naked, at which point she comes barreling out of the trees, screaming, "The Borg are coming! The Borg are coming!" Picard's recalled to command to be briefed on the new threat, has tea with Admiral Nechayev, who appears to have mellowed out quite a lot since the original TNG episode.
I want to make it clear that if you have a similar opportunity in the future, an opportunity to destroy the Borg, you are under orders to take advantage of it.
Picard's trying to assemble a new command crew because of events of Nemesis and the previous books taking quite the chunk out of his original team. So we're introduced to Chasminda Chowdhury, and Picard also decides to take Chen along as our contact specialist. Her first outing comes when there's a momentary distraction in the form of a race of plant people, and we see Chen trying to work to resolve a dispute that would allow them passage through their space to reach the Borg in shorter time. There's a moment where she suggests that just outright lying to them in order to secure the passage, citing that this is a case of the greater good, and that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And someone's feelings getting hurt are actually much better than the entire quadrant getting assimilated. They do find a means to handle the situation, but without outright lies and betrayal, and it does give an interesting insight into the character of Trish Chen. Middle part of the novel deals a lot with character work and study as we further explore Chen and what makes her tick. Turns out she's Ponfar all day, every day. There's also insights into several of the new officers in order to introduce them to the reader, as well as develop some points on Picard and Beverly Crusher, who it turns out have got married at some point between novels and are currently enjoying the honeymoon flush period of their relationship. Right up until Beverly Crusher goes baby crazy and insists on getting her hands on Picard's gentleman's relish. She even ambushes the poor guy during an officer's poker game, trying to turn the table into discussing the issue of procreation and of how good it is to be a parent. At which point Picard has to excuse himself because, Jesus Christ, woman, take a hint. Enterprise eventually reaches the cluster and discovers that the entire system appears to be some sort of living entity, a massive-scale quantum-entangled computer system that's formed naturally from carbon-rich planets that created semiconductors in their makeup and developed intelligence. It is Star Trek, so you've got to give it a little bit of leeway where it comes to fantastical elements, but it is kind of an interesting concept.
Yes.
The entity detected the Borg assimilating the Rhea and split them up to stop them fighting. It froze the crew of the Rhea out of time because it couldn't work out what to do with them, but sent Chen 10,000 light years away because she really, really wanted to escape, and it latched onto that feeling.
There's no place like home.
Anyway, the Borg are back. Except not, because this is actually Hugh, and he's right in front of the actual Borg threat that is right on his heels. Turns out that when the entity tossed the cats out of the yard, it found the nearest set of Borg that it could find, and it thought that that was where they came from.
Racist.
The Borg attempt to assimilate one of the planets in order to get access to the powerful technology that the entity is able to wield, and the Enterprise attempts to stop them with its new anti-Borg weapon, which immediately bounces off their armour as unable to penetrate. It is proved that it can still work, but it will need a Trojan horse strategy in order to get past the defences. At this point, Picard has had enough of Beverly's baby crazy ways and volunteers himself for the suicide mission. For about 5 minutes, before Guinan beats him upside the head and tells him, "Picard, just have sex with your wife and go in on a family.
So there's a big space battle, which is very nice. Hugh beams over to the Borg ship and sacrifices himself and blows up their Liberator ship. And then the Borg decide no, we're just going to try and kill Picard again. Go over, attack the ship, actually manage to take down their shields, beam over, and are about to assimilate everyone. And then suddenly the Trojan horse kicks in and the Borg just drop down asleep.
Sleep data.
And then everything is finally miraculously done. The Borg are solved and pushed out of the way. The liberated crew goes back to their home place to liberate. And
Picard puts a baby in his girl.
yes. And the entity, the alien entity, has decided, oh, right, so that's what sex is. I'm on it. So he decides to sex some nearby globular clusters, because you would. And that's the end, pretty much.
Up until the coda, at which point there's a battle with a different set of Borg from the Enterprise's previous security chief, who then completely screws the pooch, handing them the keys to the kingdom, and then it's the lead up until the Destiny series.
But yeah, that ending did feel out of place. Anyway, we'll go on to loves and hates. I do like how it does feel like a TNG episode, and definitely an episode rather than full-blown motion film or something like that. Most of the characters are fine. Beverly's, baby crazy. Geordie, I have problems with. He seems to be just comic relief.
Yes. Well, I
mean, Worf doesn't really do much.
Yeah, but Worf is Worf. That's the thing. I think at this point, Worf is basically there to just fill a role. There's not so much a...
I mean, you could say the other character who doesn't come across fully great would be Guinan. Just because, one, how she basically verbally assaults Picard in the corridor in front of everyone. I don't think that was Guinan's style. She would have pulled him aside.
Perhaps, but when it came to the Borg, she kind of lost a little bit of a guarded nature as well.
You all right?
You felt sorry for me. Look what it got you.
But if you can have a look at that, there are some, like the alien entity and how that's done, I do like.
Yeah, that is clever.
I mean, it can get a bit, I don't want to say below decks or, Star Trek animation or, the weird sort of...
The lower decks, it's sort of...
The sort of like, this is just for laughs now, really, isn't it?
I can't let it eat him.
She's an herbivore. She's just gumming on him to suckle out some moisture.
I don't know.
I mean, like, it was interesting. I did like that part.
It was done with a straight face as opposed to lower decks basically just going, look at the stupid thing.
Oh, yes. It was done with a straight face. But then again, you've got Chen, who's also feels very low decks.
She does feel very Mariner. I will agree with you there. That, weirdly enough, when I first read this years and years and years ago, I actually wouldn't have had that reference point. Whereas reading it back and having experienced lower decks, it's like, I wonder if they took the inspiration to make the Mariner character.
Maybe. And then just named it something else so I don't have to pay any rights. It's very Star Trek.
This is my squadron leader, Nicholas Locarno.
Tom Paris?
What about you? I mean, is there any big standout things you do like?
Standout things that I love. Nothing that comes to mind that stands out as a, oh my god, this was amazing. the whole story is a general like for me, as I've already said. I like those little sprinklings of, again, the member berries kind of.
Is there anything like really negative about it and dislikes?
Beverly.
I just feel like she gets utterly character assassinated, and that her entire motivation's reduced to like one note.
Yes, she just, give me a baby. I want a baby. I want a baby. I want a baby.
Yeah.
But then every single plot point was about, babies are important. Family's important. Family.
It's definitely the theme of the book.
It calms down, and then Hugh comes in and goes, oh yeah, me and my girlfriend want a baby. Can you get us to have a baby? Can you get Beverly to get us to have a baby? Because babies are important. They'll bind our society together. They make everything whole. They make our civilization. Babies are important.
Don't you think you both might be overreacting?
This is going to seem like a weird one, but the member berries. I like those little sprinklings of, again, the member berries kind of. Because in some respects, it's. Yep, there's a lot of stuff here that they keep referring back to, and it's like, cool, great, fun, amazing. And then, in some respects, I think the author does that a little bit too much.
I think at the start, the first half of it, I would agree. However, I would also say some of them feel like they're there just to say, look, I acknowledge this.
Yes.
You're probably not aware of this, but I've never been particularly comfortable around children.
Really?
And also to cue you in on things that have happened before in a quick way, rather than just being, a text scroll up the screen.
Yes. I mean, there were plenty of technobabble as well, which I kind of enjoyed. From a perverse sort of perspective. But, like I say, I think in some respects, the references helped. But then it got to a point where I was starting to think that you go in a little bit too far with the references, and it was almost... It was in fear of becoming too much of the referential material.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was at risk of sort of becoming something that I don't think someone would have been able to read had they not got this previous experience.
One of the sort of dislikes I have is suddenly Borg.
Nobody expects the Spanish Inquisition.
It feels like the Borg just pop up out of nowhere for no reason, and it's not explained why they are there at any point. It's just suddenly Borg. On that point, we'll go on to nitpicks, I think.
Yes, I think go on to nitpicks.
Right, okay, my first main nitpick is when the Einstein has come back and he's trying to make a borehole down to one of our planets. The Enterprise and the Liberator's trying to get there. And they go, and the Entity's going, no, I don't want you together because you'll just fight.
Yeah.
And they go, oh no, please, let us through. I go, okay, fine. I'll let one of the ships through. You'll let the Enterprise through, but you won't let the Liberator through. This is initially, and it's like, wait a sec, you're trying to keep them apart because they'll fight. But your idea is if I put one of them in there, they might not fight. If I put two of them, oh yeah, they're definitely going to fight. It's no, if you put one with the book, they're going to fight. So why are you just keeping... Why didn't you put them both in, or you keep them both out?
Yeah.
That would be logical. Sending just one in feels kind of stupid.
Yeah,
Because it's like, I don't know what you've chosen.
the only thing I can think of there is that it's, like you say, it's a one-on-one.
Yeah, like I
one-on-one
want a fair fight.
and it's well, not even a fair fight. It's more like now you're gonna play nice, aren't you? I'm gonna put you down, and you're gonna play nice. No, I'm gonna put you down. You're gonna play nice. No, and it's that sort of impression that I got from that. It's like, if you can't play well, then I'm gonna completely.
Yeah.
I can't understand why this bloody entity's got such a parental bloody idea
I mean,
of things either.
Right. This is... I don't know whether it's come up in previous books.
Right.
This is just coming from my knowledge of the films and stuff. But they, at one point, blow a hole in the side of the Einstein. And Borg get swept out.
Yeah.
Into space. And the Borg die. Did Borg die in the vacuum of space now?
No.
Okay. They seem to do.
I'm gonna come back to Picard again.
No.
No, they fucking don't.
We're not even doing this book.
I know, I'm just... There are, in First Contact, they walk on the outside of the ship.
Yeah, I know, that's the image I have in my... Yeah.
There is supposed to be a reason for a Borg ship to have oxygen, and I think it's something to do with maintaining the organic elements. Like, in the same way, I think in First Contact, there's a mention of there being a certain amount of humidity and oxygen concentration and the rest of it, and Picard goes, like a Borg ship. And I think there is supposed to be a scientific reason as to why the Borg do actually maintain an oxygen environment within the ships because of the organic elements. But yeah, they can survive in vacuum. And once again,
But
it's another...
Yeah. Right. We're going to... Probably this is going to be my... This will be my last nitpick.
All right.
I think. I've got another one which... right. They say at one point they've got a prototype mobile emitter. Now it's the...
yes, the Doctor's holographic...
Yeah. But it's like, oh, well, we've got, transphasic torpedoes. It's like, how militaristic has the Federation got? Because Voyager's been back for a while. And they're like, oh, yeah, these torpedoes, yeah, we'll work on them, sort out them. Yeah. A mobile emitter. Just chuck it back there, I don't know.
All right.
And, no one's worked on it. It's still a prototype.
I can answer that one.
Okay.
Right. Okay. You've got to think that there's a few folds to that problem. One, the transphasic torpedoes and the ablative armor that Janeway brought back. She literally had the blueprints and plans for those, so she could hand them off to the engineers and go, right, that is literally how to make them. All the instructions that you need to make the things from scratch, right? So there's that, whereas the Doctor's mobile emitter was literally a device that they found, or rather, it was already created and they would have to reverse engineer it.
I've been equipped with an autonomous, self-sustaining mobile holo emitter.
Now, the arguments with the reverse engineering, as soon as you put it through the transporter, you think, well, hang on, you just use the transporter cloning.
I understand why Voyager is still a prototype, because they haven't got the science facilities to dedicate to it.
Yeah.
But once you get back to the Federation, surely you've got, in theory, unlimited science resources to stick on it.
Well, here's the other problem. In another book, they determined it as property of the Doctor.
So why has the Enterprise got it then?
A prototype of it. Because otherwise, the Doctor wouldn't be able to exist outside of the holodeck without the emitter, and part of, I think, his determination of sentience was that they had to give him the emitter, and they had to essentially register it as his property. Otherwise, he would have been bound to a holodeck, and it would have been against his, sentient rights.
I don't know.
And the problem is that no, I mean this is the explanation that I got from a different book.
Yeah.
But the issue is with that is that the Doctor then has done sort of the data route and basically gone, well, I'll let you have a look at it, but you can't take it apart, you can't reverse engineer it, because if you break it, my existence is then locked to a room, so you're only allowed to do the base elements of engineering to it. And they've kind of had to respect that idea, but of course that then means that they can't really do that much in terms of invasive stuff, so they can only really make
another prototype of it.
Yeah.
Maybe. But anyway, have you got any more nitpicks?
I can't remember. There was a...
I mean, there's that thing at the end where the ball got shields on.
I remember when they kick Trisha Chen 10,000 light years away at the start of the book, and they make a particular note that she's got all of her impurities, all of the impurities in her body have been removed.
Yes.
And there's that moment of, how would someone who has never met a Vulcan-human hybrid,
yeah,
how would someone be able to determine what are impurities in the body? Because presumably they've got no medical idea of what this thing is. Yeah. The only thing that they've got is that they've read her mind and basically said, oh, she wants to be 10,000 light years away with the bad dragons.
If you're, just coming across it, you might think, well, this person's got a load of parasites.
Yeah,
I'll get rid of all the parasites for them.
Yeah, and all the bacteria in your digestive system just like, oh great, now I can't eat anything. But no, there was that. But also later in the story, they are travelling by that quantum slipstream element, and all I started thinking was, well, are you doing that for every member of the crew that's passing through? Are they all suddenly going to come out the other end with like no impurities left in their bodies, or is it literally naked? In this instance, it's literally a window, and they go through the window and they're in the different place. Whereas for Chen, they have specifically fired her out 10,000 light years away onto a planet, but for some reason they have decided to. It's almost like a transporter effect rather than what is described. It's not quantum slipstream.
I mean, that thing, it might actually be something different like that. Because it doesn't fully determine one way or another. Whether it's just like... Because all the like... Actually, no, because he does do slipstreams outside the system to get the rear back, doesn't he? He sends Ree back to Earth, I think. The end.
Yeah, possibly.
And he kicks the Enterprise to...
the nearest planet for the Borg colony.
Yeah.
Or rather, the X-Borgs.
Yeah. Well, where they're, releasing the X-Borgs, yeah.
That was one of the things that struck me as weird. I mean...
Well, yeah, it's also coming from the Destiny series as well. It's like, great, another alien who can make slipstream drives like that.
But you'll also...
It seemed like a MacGuffin plot point. Oh, alien who can make slipstream drives.
But here's the other thing, this is obviously taken place before Destiny, and whether Mac was writing Destiny at the same time, or it had already been sort of written, or they already knew where they were going with it, because obviously...
I think he does mention, he has...
Yeah, it's
Mac
the opening...
had some input.
But there's the opening salvos, certainly in the coda, so whether it had already been done... But the problem is that when Mac was writing Destiny, there's no mention of this potentially dangerous technology that, the Borg might have access to if they suddenly come out of the bloody Azure Nebula and suddenly realise, oh, shit, quantum slipstream tech. We'll pay a visit to them first. That'll make our trip a hell of a lot faster getting to Earth.
Oh, also, yeah, and like when the Federation does learn, they're using some sort of slipstream device to get through here. Oh, well, we know an entity who can.
Yeah.
We'll just check up on him, see what he's done.
It's the Dyson sphere. It's like there's a phenomenally cosmic level sort of entity that is hanging out within 10,000 light years of Federation space, but it's never mentioned again.
Because, I mean, presumably, while Destiny's going on, Varia has been refit and sent back out to the entity. Because that's what they said they would do.
I mean, that's what they plan to do, but you would also think that if they suddenly realise that, shit, the Borg are coming, they would then recall that starship.
We'll go on to final thoughts about this book and this book only.
Yes. But yeah, we've taken the piss out of it for a while, as we usually do, but it still doesn't change my enjoyment of it. I still think it was a good bit of episodic next generation adventure. It had a Borg theme to it, but it was mostly character work, and it's a character that, you know, she's not the perfect Star Trek ideal, but she's still kind of not verging into... Well, she's certainly not verging into Mariner.
Oh, I mean, she improves.
Yeah.
Throughout the series.
Exactly.
So...
I still enjoy it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I do like it overall. I mean, I'm not particularly a Borg fan. Don't really care for the Borg. I don't give a shit about any of the Borg stories, really.
I can see why they had to get rid of them, because it was becoming too much of a fallback for writers.
But I think this book I do like. Even saying, like, I hate Borg. I do like this book. The Borg are in it, but they are, bottom of the story list. It's a good book overall. It's got characters, it's got character dynamics, it sets up a few things. It's like interpersonal connections. I do like that. It has plot points. It has a character arc with Chen. There are things to go in. There are things it skirts or makes simplified. I'm thinking the Geordie and Beverly.
Yes.
So that it underserves them. But mostly the other characters it's okay with. I mean, Worf's, I think he's underserved, but I think Worf is always underserved, and that's his character. Sort of thing, in a way, he sort of is.
He comes to the fore more so when he's studying Klingon culture and...
So overall, yeah, I do like it. I wish it didn't have the end. Not a paragraph, it's like a page. Or 2 pages. That was just... It didn't need to be there, and it just left a sour note on everything. Not because it's depressing, just because it felt like the writer had an axe to grind against another character.
Mm.
And yeah, it was just all like set up for something else.
Yeah.
Which I don't think it really needed. But yeah, I mean, would you ever read it again?
I mean, this is...
Right. Well, yeah, this is a second read for you.
I mean, I don't even think it's my second read. I think this is possibly my third or fourth in the time that I got.
Has it improved or diminished?
I would say it's improved. Like, my first reading through, it was just a stepping stone to Destiny. This time through, I've actually appreciated... I don't know. I appreciated the character dynamics and the way that the story unfolded, and knowing what I know about Destiny. But also, I guess with doing what we are doing and doing the reviews, I started to sort of look into it a lot deeper as to what they are trying to achieve. You know, this has changed. Doing these videos has sort of changed my outlook on some of the books that I have read, and this has only gotten better in that estimation.
That's good. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, I really do like it, mate. It's most Little Starship 8 does feel like a series, an episode in a series, just because the budget-wise as well as, you know, everything else. But anyway, we'll end it there. Thank you for joining us. And next week we shall be reading
Robert A. Heinlein's The Man Who Sold the Moon.
Right then. Come back next week for a lovely review of that. Bye.
Lovely. Bye.
Oh, she can punch. Oh, yeah. Hit me harder. Right.
You know what Discovery did with the whole Klingon anatomy?
No, look, we haven't got time. No.
1 hour 18 minutes. And I don't even 1 hour 19 minutes now. But I don't even think we waffled at the start of this one.